Alright, so here we are on our combined Lesson 7 and Lesson 8 video. So we're going to start in Lesson 7, and then we're going to do a few examples here, and then we'll skip over to Lesson 8, and we'll combine them all together. So we're here on the first page of your note packet, on page 1, and first I want to go over the box. It says the numbers on the number line decrease as you move to the left, and increase as you move to the right. So the number that is the least would be the farthest left, and the number that is the greatest would be the farthest right. Okay, so if we were to draw just a general, if we were to draw just a general number line here, and we put 0 in the middle, that's basically saying that down on this end on the right, this would be the greatest number in a list, and on the left, this would be the least number, or integer. Okay? So that's all we're going to go over on this page. Please make sure you have that visual written down. And we're going to go to the next page now. We're going to do some examples. Alright, example 2 says, the record low temperatures for a town in Maine for December, January, and February are -18, -20, and -19 degrees Fahrenheit. It says to order the numbers from least to greatest. So if we're going least to greatest, so first I'm going to draw a vertical number line to help us out a little bit. Because we're doing temperature, so think of it like a thermometer. If this is 0, alright, and then we would count -1, -2, and keep going. So first we would have -18, then -19, and then last would be -20. So if we want to list them from least to greatest, right, remember this end down here would be our least. It's the farthest from 0, so our list would be -20, then -19, and then -18. Okay, so we're just kind of ordering them. The next example says John's time for running the mile in gym class was 9.2 minutes. Jackie's time was 9.18 minutes. Who ran the mile in less time? So, first remember, when we're using decimals, I'm going to write them out. So we have 9.18 and then 9.2, and to compare them, I'm going to put a 0. Alright, and then we're going to draw our number line here. So we have a 0, and then think about if we had 9. First we would have 9.18, and then we would have 9.20. So who ran, and then remember the 9.18 was for Jackie, and the 9.20 was for John. So who ran the mile in less time? We want the smaller number, so we can say that Jackie ran the mile in less time. Alright? We're going to do just one more example here with ordering these numbers. So number 2 says, Mrs. Rodriguez gave bonus points on tests for outstanding written answers and deducts points for answers that are not written correctly. She uses rational numbers to represent the points. She wrote the following on student's paper. So student A got -2 points, and student B got -2.5 points. So who performed worse on the test? So if we use our number line, we're in the negative, so I'm going to put 0, then we'd have -1, -2, and then I'm going to put -3. So student A was at -2, so I'm going to put a dot at -2, and this is A. And student B was at -2.5, which would be in between -3 and -2 down here. This would be -2.5. So the question asks us who performed worse. So who got the lower score? We can say that student B performed worse. Alright, you can see that because they had more points taken off their test. Okay, so we're going to skip number 3. And we're going to skip the next page for now. And we're going to jump over to page 8, or page 4, which is lesson 8. Okay, so this is still ordering integers and other rational numbers. So example 1 says that Sam has $10 in the bank. he owes his friend Hank $2.25, and he owes his sister $1.75. So it says to consider the three rational numbers related to this story. How would you write each number in relationship to the story? So first we're going to write down our integers. So we know he has $10, so that's a positive 10. Then he owes his friend Hank $2.25, so that's going to be a minus from his bank account. So that's going to be negative 2.25. And then he owes his sister $1.75, so that's going to be another minus, and $1.75. Then it asks us to order them from least to greatest. So the smallest number, think about the negatives here, would be the negative 225, and then we'd have negative 175, and then our biggest number, of course, would be the only positive, which is 10. Okay. In the next example, it's the same idea. It says, during their most recent visit to the eye doctor, Kara and her sister Beth had their vision tested. Kara's vision in her left eye was negative 1.50, and her vision in her right eye was the opposite number. Beth's vision was negative 1 in her left eye and a positive 0.25 in her right. So first we need to list out all of the integers, or all the rational numbers, so negative 1.50, and then the opposite was her right eye, so that'd be a positive 1.50. We had a negative 1 and a positive 0.25. So now if we're going to order them from least to greatest, so we would see that negative 1.5, I'll do this in a different color. Negative 1.50 is the smallest number. Then the only other negative number is negative 1. So now when we look at the positives, 0.25, which is like a quarter, is smaller than $1.50. So then we'd have 0.25 and then 1.50. Looking at number 2 here, it says there are 3 letters in Miss Thomas's mailbox. A bill from the phone company for $38.12. Another bill from the electric company for $67.55. And then a tax refund check for $25.89. So remember, if it's a bill, you're going to have to pay that, so it's going to come out of your bank account. So that's going to be a negative. So we'd have negative 38.12. And then the other bill for the electric company, so another negative 67.55. And now a tax refund. A refund is when you get money back. Like if you go to the store and you exchange something, you get a refund because you didn't want it. So this would be a positive 25.89. Alright, so now we're going to order them from least to greatest. So our smallest number is the biggest negative. So it would be negative 67.55. And then we'd use our other negative, negative 38.12. And then our biggest number, of course, is the only positive, which is 25.89. Alright, we're going to do one more example here. Example 3. Monica, Jack, and Destiny each had their arm length measured for an experiment in science class. They compared their arm lengths to a standard of 22 inches. The listing below shows in inches how each student's arm length compares to the 22 inches. It says to order the rational numbers from least to greatest. So here we've got some fractions. Okay, in order to compare fractions, we're going to need common denominators to help us out. So we only have to do it for the negatives because we see that Jack's number is positive. So we have negative 1/8 and negative 1/2. So I'm going to convert both of these to be eighths. So that means I have to multiply the second one by 4 on the bottom and 4 on the top. So I'd have negative 4/8, and then I'd still have negative 1/8 up here. So now if I'm going to order them from least to greatest, I think about on a number line maybe. If we have 0, this would be negative 1/8, this would be negative 2, negative 3, and this would be negative 4/8. So if we're going to put them least to greatest, we would have negative 4/8, negative 1/8, and then finally our positive number 1 3/4. Alright, so write yourself a little note here that you need a common denominator to compare fractions. Alright, please write that little note down just so you have that in your notes. And then that's all we're going to do for this lesson. We're going to do lots of practice in class tomorrow, so bring any questions you have for that.